Hey everyone, it's Kate, and I'm sorry to be a couple minutes late, but today is part 2 of the Picasso top from the sewing workshop, and I'll be demonstrating how to sew lap seams. I'll include a link right here to my previous video where I showed how to cut out your fabric if you're making something with lapped seams. The fabrics that I'm using for this Picasso top are from our fall 2021 Warm Tones Swatch Service. And we just ran a giveaway for a full year subscription to our Swatch Service. And I am so excited to announce that Darcy Kaufman won the giveaway. 300 people entered and Darcy won. She is a big fan of ours and we're a big fan of hers. She is already a Swatch Service subscriber, so she's going to get a full year free of quarterly goodness in her snail mailbox. If you want to sign up for our fall 2021 Swatch Service, you can do so until September 7th to receive September's swatches. If you're watching this video well into the future, you can sign up for our Swatch Service anytime and get 4 wonderful curated swatch sets in your mailbox every year. So let's get started on the sleeve for the Picasso top. I found the sleeve to be the trickiest part of this top, and so I'm excited to show it to you in action. Let's head over to the overhead. So the first step for getting your sleeve ready is to get ready to hem it while the fabric is still flat. Linda Lee of the Sewing Workshop always does her hems this way, and I think it's brilliant. To get it ready, first you iron on some fusible knit stay tape. We have it in a 1-inch width. We also have 1/2 inch, but the 1 inch is perfect because this is a 1-inch hem. I also iron on some of our double-sided stay tape, which is really kind of a glue, and we have it in a 1/4 inch version. And I ironed that on right on the very edge, and there's paper on one side of the glue, and I leave the paper on until I'm ready, really ready to hem, and then I'll pull it off, iron it again, and it will glue the hem in place. So after you get your knit stay tape and your double-sided stay tape in place, I use this is a hot hammer it's called, and I use it as a guide for ironing it in place. So I'm just really creating a crease before I sew the sleeve together. So the crease is there. After I sew the sleeve in a circle, it'll be really easy to just pop the hem in place. I'll pull off this paper and iron it so it's held in place, and then top stitch it from the top. So after you have your hem ready for future use, I'm turning the sleeve around. Oh, great. My marks have faded. Oh no, I'm showing you the, never mind. So here's the sleeve head. And because the sleeve itself is going to be the underlap, I have marked the 5/8 inch seam allowance on it. And I have also ironed some of the double-sided stay tape, and the paper is still here. And as I explained in my last video, the fabric that's going to be the underlap, you just mark the seam allowance. And for the fabric that's going to be the overlap, you cut away the 5/8 inch seam allowance. So this is the arm's eye that I'm going to sew to the sleeve cap. And I have cut away the seam allowance on this, and I made a little arrow to remind myself that I really did cut it away. So they're both ready. I'm gonna first remove the paper on my double-sided stay tape. And oh, another thing is that on the sleeve head, there are 4 dots, and they're marked A, B, C, and D, and you also have 4 dots on the arm's eye, and they are also marked A, B, C, and D. C and D are for the back of the sleeve, and A and B are for the front. But you're going to be matching those when you position the arm's eye on the sleeve cap. So the first thing I want to do is position, this is the shoulder seam, and here is the shoulder seam mark on the sleeve cap. And this is really the only pin I'm going to use. Oh, a bent pin. I wish I could, I feel like a bent pin factory sometimes. And I always just throw them away because they're not going to straighten out. So I'm going to get that pinned in place. That's the shoulder seam. And then I'm going to head over here to the side. So the arm's eye on this sweatshirt has a right angle to it, which is a really fun design element. But I'm lining up the edge of the arm's eye that I've cut away the 5/8 seam allowance. I'm lining it up right on the line that I drew at 5/8 of an inch. And I'm going to iron it in place on the double-sided stay tape. So it is going to be held in place really securely. And after I get this side piece positioned, I'm going to line everything up from the shoulder seam to the side. Make sure it's all nice and flat. I love this method. This is how Linda Lee says to do it in her instructions, and how I would do it even if she didn't, because you're really getting the seam anchored in place before you start sewing. So now I'm going to do the other side. It'll be a little bit harder to see because it's the same color. But I'm so excited about these 2 fabrics. This one, this cream one with the abstract design, is from a company called Atelier Brunette, and it's a French company. We just started carrying them, and their designs are gorgeous, and their fabrics are so soft, and this has a really nice brushed back to it, as does the green. It's from Robert Kaufman, and it's called Trainer's French Terry, and it's really got a nice soft back. It reminds me of the sweatshirts I got when I was on the college track team. One of the fun things about our Swatch sets, both our garment and our quilting cotton ones, is that we combine fabrics from different manufacturers and fabric lines and show you how they can go together. All right, so I have my arm, oops, I'm gonna do a little more ironing right here at the shoulder seam. I've got my arm's eye securely glued to my sleeve cap, and I'm gonna go over to the machine and show you how I sew it. So to sew a lap seam, you wanna just sew about 1/8 of an inch from the fabric that's the overlap, which is the arm's eye. And to get ready to sew, increased my stitch length to 3.0 millimeters. I am using a straight stitch, which is what Linda Lee suggests in her instructions. This, even though this is made of knit, it's very loose, so you don't need a lot of stretch in your seams. And with a 3.0 stitch length, I find that I do have a little bit of stretch. So that's a little bit longer than your basic 2.5 millimeter. So I'm gonna get started, and hopefully everything's gonna go smoothly, unlike my last video. All right, here we go. I also reduced the presser foot pressure, which allows the knit to kind of travel under the presser foot without stretching. And I have on this machine a dual feed mechanism, and I have it in place, and now these are moving a little bit. Okay, when I get to the corner, I'm going to pivot. If you don't have a dual feed mechanism on your machine, hopefully you have a walking foot. I think that would really help feed both fabrics through at the same rate. If you have neither, it just might be a little bit more challenging. I can't remember if I said this, but I find if you use a slightly longer stitch length, even when you use a straight stitch, you might still have some stretch in your seams, which is good. Okay, we're at the other corner, needle down, foot up, pivot. And of course, I did plenty of practicing with scraps to figure out where I'm gonna get a little bit of curling going on there. Plenty of practicing with scraps to make sure that you like everything. I also have a stretch needle in. Truth be told, I've made this with both a smaller 75. Oh, good morning, Gail. I'm so glad you're here. I've made this with a smaller 75 stretch needle and a larger 90 stretch needle, and both work just fine, but you want to make sure that you like your stitches with your needle. I'm going to head back to the overhead, and I'm going to get oriented the same way I was before. So here's this is the sleeve, and then these are the arm's eye, and you can see that I have sewn them together in a lapped seam way, which is, you just have to get your head around it, because you're basically putting the wrong side of the overlap on top of the right side of the underlap. But once your brain figures it out, it's really easy and fun, and a great method for sewing knits, and also really thick wools and stuff. I think it's great because it reduces the amount of bulk at the seam. So after you sew your two sleeves on, you'll sew the side seams and the underarm seams this way.
Show the front camera. Can you just show that on the front?
Okay, I will show this on the front camera. So after you sew your shoulder seams, you'll sew the underarm and side seams right sides together like you normally would, and your hems are prepared and ready, so they go really quickly, and you'll have a really cute Picasso top. So I hope that you decide to make a Picasso top from the sewing workshop, and I would love to see the fabrics that you combine to make yours. I'll be back on Wednesday at noon Mountain Time when I'm going to be making the small project for our quilting cotton swatch set. We're calling it the Turkey Time Table Topper. It's really cute. And so I hope to see you then, noon Mountain Time on Wednesday. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.